Hope you can see it on your screen. Can you see the PPT on your screen, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Enhancing multifaceted skills required under IBC IP as a chartered accountant. Though these skills, these are required by everyone, whether he's a lawyer or a company secretary or a chartered accountant or CMA or any other professional. If he is acting as insolvency professional, then a number of skills are required. And in this PPT, I will share as to what skills are required and how to improve them. Okay, so let's proceed with this. So first of all, we must know as insolvency professionals as to what are the objectives of IBC, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. What are the objectives? Why we need IBC? Why can't the other enactments considered? Why these other enactments have not been considered adequate for the purpose of handling this type of insolvency matters? As you know that many real estate matters are there under insolvency. So there are some provisions under RERA law also for dealing with the situation where promoter has defaulted and then RERA is having the powers to issue directions for the purpose of completion of these incomplete projects. Okay, so though we are having this type of provisions, like if any creditor is there and he has not been his dues are not being paid by the debtor, and debtor has defaulted, then he is having other remedies also available to him. He can go to the high court, he can go to the civil court, he can if it's a banker, then it can file original application in DRT. Banker can invoke SURFACI Act also, provisions of SURFACI Act and all. So why we should have a separate IBC law? So that is the first question, and then we will see what are the objectives. So IBC, as you know, that insolvency is a situation which does not affect only one creditor, two creditor, or three creditors, and only the creditors. It affects everyone who is associated with the company. Creditor, not only one creditor, though one creditor has filed the application for initiation of CIRP, but other creditors also are suffering because their dues are not getting paid. So it is not that the debtor is defaulting to a particular creditor only. No, today he may not be defaulting to everyone. But if insolvency situation is there, and insolvency, all of us know what is the meaning of insolvency. Insolvency is a situation where a creditor is not able to pay, a debtor is not able to pay its dues to its creditor in the normal course of business. Okay, so that is insolvency situation. But insolvency situation also, there are two kinds of definitions. One is which is balance sheet based, and another is which is cash flow based. So balance sheet based situation is or balance sheet based insolvency is where value of asset is lower than the liabilities. If a debtor is having debts worth rupees 100 crore and value of his assets is only 60, so as per that definition, the debtor will be treated as insolvent entity. There is another definition which says that if there is which is cash flow based definition, which says that if there is a default, and then you will be treated as if you have defaulted, and for payment of any undisputed amount. Okay, so then in that case you will be treated as insolvent entity. So it is cash flow based definition, where for example the value of asset is 100 crore and liabilities are only 60 crore. Okay, but still, because the value, the 100 crore worth of assets are in the form of, for example, some manufacturing plant which can't be easily sold off. So value is there on papers, but actually you don't know whether how much time you will be taking. And today there are no buyers. So though value of assets may be there, but and liabilities are much lesser, but still because you have defaulted and you are not having adequate cash flow to pay your dues in the ordinary course of business, so you will be treated as an insolvent entity. So we have adopted the cash flow based definition. Okay, so which is rather default based or cash flow based is the one and the same thing, where if there is any default of more than 1 crore rupees, then in that case you are treated as insolvent entity. Now question is that insolvent entity, we go back to our first question, that why we need a special law for dealing with this. So as I was telling you, that in an insolvency situation, it is not that only one creditor is getting affected, all creditors are getting affected, employees are getting affected, workers are getting affected, government of India, because their dues are not being paid, then promoters, bankers, because their money is stuck up in the project. So all of them, they get affected as because of this insolvency situation. And if we allow all the creditors to initiate their separate recovery proceedings, then the going concern value will be lost. Okay, so in order to protect the going concern value, and one is going concern value, and then even if suppose the business is lying closed and you want to dispose of those assets, so in place of selling them in a piecemeal manner, if you sell them jointly, then I think you can get a better recovery. Okay, so for that reason, it has been considered proper that there should be a specific law dealing with insolvency situation, where all the creditors, they come together and then they decide as to what should be done with the company or any insolvent entity. And they, during that period, the moratorium has to be there, because the creditors, they are not allowed to initiate and continue their separate proceedings. And if they are allowed, why moratorium is there? Because moratorium is there because the asset should not be allowed to be sold in different legal proceedings initiated by different creditors, because it may happen that some very valuable plant and machinery is sold off as a result of these recovery proceedings, and then the value of the plant, value of the assets of the CD, that falls very substantially. Okay, so that is the reason that moratorium is kept. And during this period, these stakeholders, they sit together and then decide whether to go for this insolvency process or for liquidation or bankruptcy. Okay, so IBC special enactment is required for this particular purpose, that separate rules, regulations, and law is required to deal with this type of companies. Otherwise, all the creditors, they will continue with their recovery proceedings and value will be lost. And then a continuation of a business is in the interest of our economy. And that is the reason that government is interested government is interested in reviving this type of businesses. And another thing is that now a question is revival we are proposing to make, but it is not that we will be making revival of each and every entity. There may be some entities which are non-viable and which are required to be liquidated. Another important thing I want to tell you is that normally the insolvent entities are not allowed to carry on with their business. And reason for the same, I think all of us are aware. Can someone tell me why insolvent entities are not allowed to carry on business? Some view?
So they will further burden the company, and there will be more creditor who will dump their money or their goods or their services, and ultimately they are not going to get anything out of it.
So परमिंदर जी, आपने ठीक कहा है So I think all of you must be aware of section 66 of IBC. 66 of IBC talks about unlawful trading, or what we call fraudulent trading. Okay, this concept or these words, they have been borrowed from English law, where the meaning of these two terms, fraudulent trading or fraudulent wrongful trading or fraudulent trading, is where an insolvent entity continues with its business. So that is called unlawful trading. Okay. So, or wrongful trading or fraudulent trading, because when you are an insolvent entity, you know that you are not paying the dues of your existing creditors. And if you are allowed to carry on your business, that means you will be contracting further liabilities, further debts, which you will not be able to pay. So when you are carrying on your business where you know that you will not be able to pay, so it fraudulent trading. Okay, so 66 says that if you are indulging in fraudulent trading, that means you know that you have become insolvent and you can't avoid reference to insolvency process. Then in that case, if you carry on your business, then you are personally liable. You have to contribute to the assets of the CD in that case, so that creditors can be paid off. So if suppose a company has become insolvent and the management is continuing with it, during this period they are incurring further losses. So the directors, they can be held personally liable under section 66. Reason is that they are carrying on fraudulent activities, they are carrying on fraudulent trading. Okay, so that is the reason that an insolvent entity, though in our country, what is happening is that section 10s are not admitted, okay, very easily. A lot of time is being taken, and normally the Honorable Court thinks that there is some fraudulent intention behind filing of section 10 application. But actually, there is an obligation under section 66, which says that if you have become insolvent and you know that you can't avoid going to IBC, and you are still carrying on your business, then you are personally liable. So that means what? That immediately after you become insolvent, you should file your application under section 10, unless some creditor initiates that, because you are having that obligation that you can't carry on your business in this type of a situation. Okay, so this type of entities are not allowed to carry on business. And then earlier, you are aware that before IBC, we were having the winding up provisions under Companies Act. So there was no insolvency resolution in those provisions. Only if there is a default, then winding up proceedings have to be initiated and the company has to be wound up. But now under IBC, insolvency resolution process has been placed before initiation of liquidation proceedings. So they say that though these companies have to be liquidated ultimately if they are not viable, but before that an attempt should be made to see that if we can continue with the business, if we can save the business of that entity, of that insolvent entity. So that is the reason that insolvency resolution process has been prefixed before liquidation process. And this insolvency resolution process during that period, because moratorium is there and the creditors are suffering, as when you are placing moratorium and you are placing this process in order to examine whether this company is viable or not. So this process will be taking some time, so which has been fixed at 180 days. But during this 180 days, the creditors will suffer, because creditors, though ultimately this process may result in better recovery for the creditors, but they are suffering in the sense that their recovery action is deferred or the liquidation process is deferred. So for that reason, because some creditors at their cost, we are at their cost, we are running this process. So for that reason, this time frame has been fixed at 180 days, which can be extended by further 90 days, so 270 days, so that these people, it should not happen that this process is continuing for years and these people are suffering, because deterioration in value of assets will be there during this period, and their recovery is getting deferred. Bankers' recovery and everyone's recovery is getting deferred. So that is the reason that this period has to be very small, so that their waiting period is minimized to 180 days or 270 days. And now, though we know that up to 330 days now it can be extended. Okay, so that is the purpose of the same. And then this there is another thing, that insolvency resolution process is a process which is kind of out of the court settlement kind of proceedings, where creditors, they sit with the prospective buyers, and all the powers, you will see that all these powers in this process are with the committee of creditors. So it is a process wherein creditors, they are examining whether it is possible, whether to revive the company, whether it is possible to carry on with the business of this company, and whether there is a investor who is willing to take over and continue the business. So during this period, because it's a out of court settlement kind of proceeding, that is the reason that the creditors are having most of the powers. The powers of the court, which is adjudicating authority, the powers are very limited to see that process has been correctly followed and the mandatory clauses are there and all. So all that. So these things are required to be seen by the adjudicating authority, which is having very limited role here. Otherwise, each and every power, approval of resolution plan is by COC. Even the adjudicating authority can't interfere with the same. Then appointment of RP is also to be decided by this one. Each and every approval of expenditures, that is to be made by COC and all. So these things are there. So during this period, the entire powers are with the creditors. However, once this process fails, then starts the process for liquidation, where the entire powers are with the court, with the adjudicating authority, and adjudicating authority through the liquidator runs this process. So you will see that under liquidation, all the reporting is made to the honorable adjudicating authority, not to the creditors. Creditors are not having any powers. They are having only recommendatory powers. Okay, because it's a court-driven process. It's a process where court is having the powers to sell the assets through a transparent process and then distribute the proceeds as per the respective rights of them, of the creditors and other stakeholders. But under insolvency resolution process, the powers are with the creditors, reportings are to the creditors and all. Okay, so this is the difference between these two processes. Now let's see what are the objectives of IBC. So very quickly, one is timely resolution of insolvency. So I have already told you why timely resolution is required. Then promote entrepreneurship. So why, can you tell me that how we are helping in promoting entrepreneurship through this IBC? Can someone tell me about this? How this IBC or IBC processes are helping us in promoting entrepreneurship? No? Okay. So one is that these entities, potentially viable entities, they are offered to new entrepreneurs. Okay, so they have ready businesses available to them, and they can take over these businesses and they can run these businesses. This is one thing. Second is that discharge order. You know that under IBC, if an entrepreneur has failed in his business, then he is given another chance. He is given second chance, and that is by way of issuance of discharge order. So you know that individual insolvency and bankruptcy. So end result of bankruptcy process is what? That the assets are taken over by the bankruptcy trustee from the insolvent person, and those assets are disposed of, and sale proceeds are distributed amongst the stakeholders, and that person, the insolvent person, he is issued a discharge order, and discharge order says that you are now relieved of all your past debts, though certain exceptions are there. You are aware of the same. So that discharge order, by giving the discharge order, we are giving him another chance, that now you are relieved of your past debts. Now you can start your life afresh. That is another thing, that bankers may not give him money because of his past failure in business. Okay, so entrepreneurship, because now they know, otherwise you can't penalize them, that if you have failed in doing your business, if suppose you started a business and that business has failed, we can't say that you can't initiate any further business in your life. Okay, so discharge order, so that these entrepreneurs, they can again carry on or start some new business. Then maximize assets value. So you know that as IRP, RP, or liquidator, or as bankruptcy trustee also, we have to maximize the value of the assets. We should see that at the earliest these assets are disposed of and maximum realization is there. Protect stakeholders' interests. So IRP, RP, liquidator, so they are not there for the purpose of meeting the taking care of the interest of some of the creditors. They have to take care of interest of everyone, whether a secured creditor, unsecured creditor, operational creditors, financial creditors, or even if there is any money which is left for distribution amongst the shareholders, then they have to see that assets are maximized, so that not only the dues of the creditors are paid. If there is money, there is some money which is available to be distributed amongst the shareholders, then that can also be done. Okay, then improve availability of credit at low markup. Availability of credit. So how IBC is contributing in improving availability of credit? Can you tell me, please? Someone?
Sir, can you please repeat the query, sir?
My query is that how IBC helps us in improving availability of credit. Any idea? No? Okay, I will tell you. So one is that you know that earlier, when we were not having this law, IBC law, at that point of time, a number of these entities, they were continuing like this only, insolvent position, in insolvent state, and the value, the bankers, they were feeling helpless, other creditors were feeling helpless, and they were not able to recover their dues. Now, the creditors, especially bankers, they can recover their dues, and that money is available for giving for lending to other entities and other entrepreneurs. So one way is that by making recovery of the dues of the bankers and others. Second is that uh, uh, if you are not having a good insolvency law, then creditors, they feel insecure. They feel that if suppose there is an insolvency situation, or if the business fails, then the process will be taking too long a time period for the purpose of making recovery. So if you are having this type of law, after that, bankers, they have now confidence. When they are lending, they know that if for any reason there is a default, then insolvency law is there, and then they can in a very fast manner, they can make the recovery by going for these insolvency resolution and liquidation processes. So credit availability, that confidence level is there. And especially you are aware that before IBC, mostly our bankers were giving only secured loans. So that means if you are having a good business idea, but you are not having a good asset base, then in that case, they were not giving you funding. But nowadays, and reason for the same was that one that they were not knowing how to make the recovery. Okay, because they were feeling secured when they were having secure some assets as security. But with this type of law, they know that if a person defaults, then they can take him into this one insolvency process and then can make a recovery. So that confidence enables improved availability of it makes available a greater amount of credit in the market, and then at lower cost. Okay, then liquidation of unviable entities at the earliest possible before substantial depletion in value of assets. So this is another objective. So it is not that only resolution is important. No, resolution resolution and liquidation is also very important. If a business is non-viable, then it should be liquidated. And then important thing is that liquidation is actually what? It is creative destruction. The liquidation is creative destruction. A creative destruction means that you know that the businesses, they fail. Why they are failing? Because their efficiency levels are lower than the other competitors. So those inefficient entities, they should be liquidated. Otherwise, they are consuming more resources for the purpose of generating the same amount of goods which others are generating. But they are consuming more resources. So I think for improving efficiency, what should happen is that this type of entities, they should be liquidated. And if these entities are liquidated, so then what will happen is that these resources which are stuck up in these companies, they can be used in other entities, other businesses. Like bankers, if they make recovery as a result of liquidation proceeding, so they will be giving this money for as loan for other businesses. Then the workers which are stuck up in these businesses, they can be utilized in other businesses. Employees can be utilized in other businesses. And then land, building, plant and machinery, land and building can be used for other purposes. Okay, so liquidation is creative destruction, which must have happen if we want to improve our efficiency. Okay, so efficiency levels can be increased only when we allow these type of inefficient entities to liquidate. And if we don't do that, if we keep on giving money to them, keep on giving them support, then what will happen is that valuable resources are being wasted, which should not happen. I think the market should be allowed to operate at its own, rather than wasting the taxpayers' money for inefficient entities. So these were the objectives. Now, what is expected from an insolvency professional? So when we become an IP insolvency professional, so first of all, we must know what are the objectives of IBC. And so that now we know that our objective is to achieve these objectives for the economy. So then that clarity will be there in our minds. And then we have to see that what else is expected from us as insolvency professional. So when you are aware that insolvency professional plays a very, very important role. And that role is one that he has to run the insolvency resolution process, and simultaneously he has to make his best endeavor to run the business of the city. So these are the two main functions of an IP. One, he has to run the process, CIRP process. And in that CIRP process, you are aware that what he has to do is he has to invite claims, he has to verify claims, he has to constitute a COC, he has to convene the meetings of COC, then he has to appoint auditor for the purpose of conducting transaction audit. Then he has to make these documents like information memorandum. He has to make RFRP document, eligibility criteria. So that process is there, which is called CIRP process. He has to run that. And the objective of that process is to identify the best resolution plan or the best resolution applicant. Okay, so that is one objective of this process, or the function of the RP is to identify a prospective resolution applicant who is willing to offer the maximum amount for that company and for the assets of the company and for the company. And so this is one thing, that the end result of this insolvency resolution process is a resolution plan which is approved by COC and thereafter by the adjudicating authority. Okay, so one, that he has to make his efforts in that direction. He should know that ultimately he has to run this process of identifying the successful resolution applicant, the resolution applicant who is offering the maximum amount. So he has to run that process. And second is he has to take care of the assets. He has to run the business if already business is running, or even if it is lying closed, he has to make his best endeavors to see that if he can maintain the going concern status of the CD. But it is not mandatory. Going concern status, if suppose a company is incurring loss by running by maintaining the going concern status or by running its operation, then it is not necessary for us to carry on or to restart the business or to continue the business. So that decision making has to be taken by the RP. So RP is having two roles here. So one, he is acting as the board of the CD, board of the corporate debtor, where he has to see that he has to take care of the interest of the corporate debtor. And secondly, his second role is to run the insolvency resolution process. Okay, so these two roles are there, and for that purpose, I think many a times the COCs may not be supportive. If suppose you are doing something as for the purpose of maintaining going concern status, so in many cases there are conflicts also, because you have to take care of interest of the creditors as well as the debtors. Okay, so in many occasions conflicts are there, and that is our role. We have to see that this type of conflicts are resolved amicably, because ultimately COC is your employer. COC has engaged you, so you can't go against the COC also. Okay, so these two processes have to be run, and while running these two processes, what is expected from us are: one, adherence to legal framework. So you are aware that what an IP has to do, for example, as an insolvency professional or as a resolution professional. So he has to adhere to the provisions of IBC relating to this CIRP process. He has to adhere to the regulations, rules. Okay, so all these things he has to adhere to. So legal framework with respect to the insolvency process, or if it is liquidation, then liquidation process, or if it is individual insolvency process or bankruptcy process. So whatever are the provisions of law relating to these processes under IBC, under regulations or rules, he has to follow them. And not only that, he has to see what are the judgments which are being pronounced by different courts relating to these processes and all. So he has to keep himself updated on regular basis. He must read the judgments which are being pronounced by different different codes relating to CIRP process, liquidation process, bankruptcy process, etc. Okay, so adherence to legal framework is one thing. Second is management of insolvency process. So as I have told you that whether insolvency processes can be in the form of CIRP or liquidation, so the RP is having the responsibility of running that process. He has to manage the insolvency process. Okay. Then independent and impartial rule. So what is expected from us is, while carrying on these processes, we are expected to be independent and impartial. So we can't act, suppose one particular creditor has appointed us there. Okay, so it should not happen that we are acting according to the instructions of that particular creditor only. We have to act as per the instructions of the CUC. And COC also is a body of creditors, but you are representing the debtor, so you have to take care of the debtor's interest also. So you will not do anything which is contrary to the interests of the debtor, because ultimately these creditors, their interests are dependent upon the debtor. Okay, so you should not cause any harm to the debtor's interest. Debtor, I'm not saying the erstwhile promoters. The debtor here means corporate debtor. Okay, so independent and impartial rule is expected from the RP. He has to ensure fair treatment for not only RP, liquidator or bankruptcy trustee also, ensuring fair treatment for all stakeholders involved, including creditors, debtors, and shareholders. So even you have to take care of the interest of shareholders also. Okay, so if there is anything which can be saved for the shareholders, then that is also to be protected by you. Adherence to high ethical standard. Okay, so here you will see that as an IP, you are handed over the management of a corporate or a management of a business, where all the decisions have to be taken by you. And that is the reason that this close monitoring is there. In other professions, if you are acting as a chartered accountant, for example, then you have to do the audit work, but management is still there. So you are not having the decision making power with respect to that company. But here you are acting as the managing director, or you are acting or you are exercising the powers of the board of directors. Okay, so there it is expected from you to follow or adhere to the high degree of ethical standards. It should not happen that you start earning money for yourself personally at the cost of the debtor. So most important is that you have to be ethical while performing your duties as IP, as resolution professional, insolvency, interim resolution professional, liquidator, or bankruptcy trustee. Okay, so IP is expected to maintain high ethical standard, ensuring that all decisions made are in the best interest of creditors and other stakeholders, while avoiding any conflict of interest. Okay, so that is the reason that these strict rules are there for you. Okay, then, and strict monitoring is there. Asset protection and management. So as IRP, RP liquidator, we have to take care of assets of the assets of the corporate debtor. And many a times, actually, we are appointed there as IRP. We don't know what are the assets in the company, because we don't have the balance sheets. Balance sheets are not finalized for the last many years. So what you have to do is you have to find out the latest balance sheet which is available. You have to download that from the ROC website, or you have to approach the creditors if they are having some information. And then existing promoters also. So in many cases, we have seen that existing promoters, they don't cooperate. Okay, so most important thing is, as and when we are appointed as IRP or RP or liquidator, we must see what are the assets which are available with the CD. And then, so I think best thing for the same is if we can find out what we call fixed asset register, or our assets registers are there. So that is very, very important. We must see what are the assets, not only the physical assets, not only land, building, plant and machinery, but also there may be some shareholding in other companies. There may be some FDRs, there may be some receivables are also there. So details of each and everything of that corporate debtor, we must have the record also of that company. So immediately after we are appointed as in any of these capacities, our first role is to get control and get possession of the assets of the CD, of the record of the CD. Okay, so that and the if any title deeds are there, so those should be those title deeds should be in under your possession. Original document should be in your possession. FDs are there, they should be in your possession. If investments are there in other companies, so their document should be in your possession. So all these things should be in your possession. That is very, very important. And if you are not getting that, then you have to approach honorable adjudicating authority by filing an application. Otherwise, after some time, if you are not having these assets, then it will be treated as if you have acted negligently. Because whenever you take over, whenever you are appointed as in any of these capacities, first job you have to do, though you have to invite claims also by issuance of public announcement and all, but takeover of the asset is most important thing, which has to be conducted by the IRP, RP, liquidator and all, and proper documentation has to be there. So for that purpose, procedures are there. All of you are aware as to how a document has to be prepared. You can't take any asset under your possession without preparation of a document. So existing promoters are there now. You are aware that now procedure has been prescribed as to how the assets have to be taken over. So that is very, very important process which has to be taken care of by us, which has to be followed by us. And if we are not having adequate knowledge about the same, I think better is to take the help of some other colleague, other insolvency professional who has been doing all this. Okay, so this is very, very important thing. You must make that document which is properly signed by the person who is handing over possession to you, by your witnesses also. A complete list should be there. It should not be like plant and machinery only. Each and every item has to be there. So this asset protection, so one is that taking over of the possession, and thereafter you have to take care of the assets throughout the process. You must ensure that assets remain protected. It should not happen that some land, building, plant and machinery, or some office is there which is taken care of by someone else. So it is your duty. Now you are having the powers of the board of directors. So you are corporate debtor now. So you have to take care of the assets of all you have to take care of the all the assets of the CD. Then ensuring timely process. So we know why this process has to be completed in the shortest possible time. So IP is expected to manage the insolvency process efficiently and within the statutory timelines, minimizing delays and costs. So first we are trying to understand what is expected from us, and then thereafter we will see how to improve our capacity to do that, how to improve our skills to do that. So ensuring timely process. So you are aware that timelines have been prescribed with respect to CIRP, liquidation and other processes. We have to do our best to see that these timely processes are made. And if we are not able to do that, then we have to approach the adjudicating authority. We have to keep our COC informed about all these things as to why there has been a delay, and then filing an application for extension or exclusion. So that is very, very important. Transparency and reporting. This is also important requirement from an insolvency professional. If you don't maintain transparency, then allegations will be raised against you for doing each and everything. Whether you are engaging some professional, you must invite quotations. If you are, suppose you are an RP of a real estate project, and you want to engage contractors, then contractors also have to be engaged in a transparent process. Involve the stakeholders in that process. Don't take all these decisions unilaterally. Keep your COC informed even during the process. So it should not happen that you are finalizing some contractor, and bankers or the COC is not aware of as to how you have identified or how you have selected this particular person. So for example, if you are there as an RP in the case of a real estate project, so then if you suppose you plan to continue with the construction, then in that case involve the home buyers of that particular project. Their representative should be there. There should be a committee, a smaller committee, for the purpose of taking decisions which are again subject to the decision of the COC. So you involve these home buyers representatives in the entire process. And then if you don't do that, then allegations will be there against you that you are having some arrangement with that contractor. So that is very, very important. Otherwise, we can be put in a difficult situation where it will be difficult if we are not having adequate documents available with respect to identification or finalization of these contractors. Then allegations can be there against us, and it will be difficult for us to defend. If we are not having adequate documentation, adequate process, transparency and reporting. So maintain transparency for doing each and everything. You have to maintain transparency. Wherever you are spending any money, whatever decisions you are taking. So for that purpose, involve others, involve COC members and all, and then you do that. So maintain transparency in all dealings, including making public announcements regarding insolvency proceedings and submitting necessary reports to regulatory authorities. Regularly update stakeholders on the status of proceedings, including financial assessments and progress towards resolution. Okay, so even if suppose whatever stage of proceedings you are at, I think you must have regular meetings. COC meetings normally we hold every month. So it should not happen that for a long period of time COC meetings are not held. And now it is mandatory that even after we have submitted the resolution plan to the adjudicating authority for approval, even after that, though your process is over, now ball is in the court of honorable adjudicating authority. Still, you have to hold regular COC meetings every month or every 60 days. And then you have to keep the home buyers or the other COC or creditors informed as to what is happening with respect to the process. Then, so these are the expectations from an insolvency professional. And then qualifications and experience requirement for insolvency professionals. I think we can skip these things because all of us are aware as to what these requirements are. Knowledge and skills an insolvency professional must possess. So let's see what these requirements are. Financial and accounting knowledge. So as chartered accountant, because this topic is that how to improve their skills for CAIPs and all. Though these are things which are equally applicable to every professional, whether that professional is company secretary or CMA or a lawyer or a CA or any other professional. All these things, actually this these skills are required for you to act as insolvency professional. So whether you are company secretary, you must have these skills. Whether you are CA, you must have these skills. So these are required for the purpose of executing your responsibilities as insolvency professional. Okay, so let's see what these requirements are. One, this is financial and accounting knowledge. So I think all the professions, all three professions, they have good financial and accounting knowledge. Company secretaries, CAs, and CMAs, all they have financial and accounting knowledge, and even lawyers also nowadays. Because if you don't have this type of knowledge, it is difficult for you to continue in any profession. So first of all, financial and accounting knowledge. One is financial analysis. Why do you need this knowledge, financial and accounting knowledge? Why do you need that? So that is required for the purpose of, because now if you are appointed as IRP or RP, first of all, you want to assess the financial position of that particular corporate data. Okay, so that you can do only when you know how to read a balance sheet. Okay, and balance sheet, complete balance sheet, you should know the entire financial statements, cash flow statement, balance sheet, income statement, etc., so that you can determine as to, first of all, what are the assets and liabilities, then what is the capacity of that business to generate revenue. So we have to see the past balance sheet also to see how much maximum revenue was generated, or how much maximum turnover was there which was achieved, and at what capacity level. So we must know how much this company is capable of producing goods, how much this company is capable of making turnover. And then we have to see the profitability also. Though turnover may be there, but profitability is very, very small. And in that case, the company may not repay its liabilities within a reasonable period of time. So you must know all these things. You must know the earning capacity. You must know the balance, the assets, liabilities, value of these assets and all. So for that purpose, you should be able to make the financial analysis. Financial analysis is ability to analyze statements. These balance sheets may be, or these documents may be manipulated. So it is not that whatever documents are there, you will assume that to be true. Okay, so while making that analysis, you will come to know that whether these financial statements are reflecting true and fair view. Okay, so to some extent, and whether these are manipulated statement of assets and liabilities and the earning capacity. Okay, so financial analysis not only for the purpose of assessing the financial position of the corporate debtor, but also of the prospective resolution applicants. Okay, so when you invite resolution plans, okay, so at that point of time, you must know who that resolution applicant is, what is his financial position, how much is its capacity to earn profit, how much is its turnover. So that analysis has to be, he must know how to make analysis, financial analysis of these financial statements. Okay, so this requirement, this IP must develop this capability. So if suppose he is not having that capability, then he will have to devote time. He will have to learn these things. Okay, he may get some smaller certificate course or diploma, smaller 3 months, 2 months, 1 month course to understand how to read the balance sheets and all, how to read the financial statements. Valuation skills are also required because ultimately you have to get the valuation done of the assets of the city. And if you don't know how these valuations are conducted, so then you will not be able to know whether the valuations which have been made by the valuers you appointed, whether they are proper or not. So it should not happen that the value of the asset is very high. For example, value of asset is 100 crore, 200 crore, and your valuers, they are saying that it is only 50 crore. So if you don't know, whatever valuation reports come to you, you need to go through them. You must, as insolvency professional, when you are as RP or liquidator, you must go through these valuation reports. You must see what are the methodologies which have been adopted. You must see that all assets have been valued. It should not happen that some assets are not considered in that. If some asset is not considered, so that means what? The RA will not give you the value of that asset, but you are transferring the ownership of the entire company. Okay, so in many cases, I've seen that some valuable asset has not been considered. So it is your duty, and it is your duty to share the complete information with the valuers. If you don't give them the complete information, then you can be held liable in future, because like the valuer will say that some particular asset was not disclosed to him. So it is your duty, and it's a very, very serious thing. So as insolvency professional, as RP, as liquidator, you must ensure that all assets have been valued. The methodology which is adopted is reasonable and proper. There should not be, in many cases, people approach the valuers, though I'm sure our professional colleagues, they don't allow anybody to influence their decisions. And as IP, we are not supposed to influence the decisions of these valuers. But at the same time, we must know that the valuation which has been conducted is representing a true and correct value. Okay, so it will be possible only when we know the various valuation methods. We must know how these land and building has to be evaluated, how financial SFA have to be evaluated, and then plant and machinery, etc. Okay, so what is normally the methodology which is adopted? So, and business valuation also. For the purpose of conducting business valuation, we must know normally what method is followed. So future earning capacity method can be one, or there can be the past earning capacity. So that can be another basis. Then the market value of share can be another method. So we must know as to normally what kind of methods are adopted, so that then we can, as IP, we can determine that yes, valuation which has been given is correct and proper. If it is not, then we can be held liable. Accounting principles. So financial and accounting knowledge, capacity to read the balance sheets, valuation skills which are expected from you, you can better use them if you are aware of the accounting principles, as to what normally are the accounting principles which are followed in preparation of the financial statements. A solid understanding of accounting standards and principles to assess financial performance accurately. So it should, if you are aware of these accounting principles, then you know that the financial statement which has been presented to you is proper or not. So if suppose normally the accounts are to be prepared on accrual basis, but if you are handed over some financial statement which considers which is prepared on cash basis, then in that case there may be huge turnover for which recovery is not made, but that is not reflected in the balance sheet. So that type of thing, I think we must make efforts to develop our knowledge of these things. We must learn these skills of analyzing the balance sheets, analyzing the financial statements. We must know valuation methodologies, accounting principles. So this is financial and accounting knowledge, which normally our professionals, these three professions especially, they have these knowledges, they have this knowledge. Then legal knowledge. Now, legal knowledge is not only the knowledge of IBC and the regulations. We must know other related laws also. Okay, like Companies Act, corporate law. Suppose you are examining one resolution plan which has been submitted by a resolution applicant. So you are expected to report. You are aware that Section 30, subsection 2, clause E says that RP has to see that the resolution plan is not in contravention of any law for the time being in force. Okay, so you should have general understanding, rather good understanding of different laws, so that then only you will be able to identify whether the plan which has been prepared or has been submitted is violative of any provisions of law. And especially allied laws we must know, like corporate law, like Companies Act. We must know the provisions of Companies Act, which as company secretaries, they are treated as experts of Companies Act. Similarly, other professionals, CAs and ICWAs, they are also having expert knowledge of or good knowledge of company law. Okay, so company law is required because a number of restructurings have a number of things have to be restructured under a resolution plan. So suppose your plan says that existing share capital has to be cancelled, then fresh capital has to be introduced. Okay, and then certain if it is a listed company, the provisions relating to listing and all those things you must know, so that you can see that whatever is proposed in the resolution plan is reasonable and proper and is not in contravention. Okay, then you should know the provisions of not only the Companies Act, but also the Contract Act, Indian Contract Act. You must know the provisions, so that when you are acting as IP, when you are acting as insolvency professional, you know that what are your obligations as under a contract and what are your rights under a contract, so that then only you can take decisions with respect to the affairs of the corporate debtor. So you must have, if somebody is violating your right as corporate debtor, then you must know what are your rights and how you have to protect your rights. Okay, so Indian Contract Act. Then you must know the provisions of Income Tax Act also. Okay, so Income Tax Act provisions, why they are required? Because you know that all these companies or all the entities, they are under an obligation to pay income tax. Okay, income tax, GST. So they must know about them. So there should be, while you are running this process, for example, that you have to deduct TDS. If as an insolvency professional you are not aware of this thing, then you are violating the provisions of IT Act. So as an insolvency professional, when you are acting as RP, liquidator, or in any other capacity, you have to see that TDS requirements are being fulfilled, or the GST requirements are being met. You are regularly depositing whatever GST you have collected, whatever TDS you have deducted. You are bound to deduct the TDS. You have to deposit that. So you must know all these provisions, Income Tax Act, Companies Act, Indian Contract Act, and a number of other allied laws. So you must have good knowledge of all these, or at least those things which are relevant for you as an insolvency professional. And if for any reason, suppose you are not aware of those, then in that case you must take the help of outside professionals. Okay, so you must take the help of if some GST issue is there, then you must take the help of some GST expert or corporate law expert or income tax expert and all. Litigation management. So this is also very, very important. So you have to decide as a resolution professional or liquidation as to whether a particular litigation has to be continued against your debtor. Suppose corporate debtor is having different debtors, receivables, advances. So you have to already, there may be some cases going on. So you have to decide how to manage that, whether you should spend money on these litigations or not, and what best litigation or what kind of legal action should be initiated against those parties. Like, for example, if you are having debtors or receivables in your books of accounts, so it is very, very important that as and when you are appointed as insolvency professional, as IRP, RP, or liquidator, so you must see, or especially when it is CIRP process. So in CIRP process, immediately after you take over the company, start taking action against the debtors and those to whom advances have been given. Okay, so it should not happen that your action becomes time barred, because debtor, you are protected, you are under moratorium, and you are against you. If any action, legal action, is to be initiated by your creditor, then moratorium is there, as well as this moratorium period will be excluded from the limitation period. But against your creditor, there is no moratorium. Debtor, rather, against your debtor, there is no moratorium. You can proceed with them, and there is no exclusion. There is no exclusion of this limitation period. That exclusion is not there against your debtors. So you must see that you must proceed against your debtor, those parties to whom you have given advances, at the earliest possible, so that the debt don't become time barred. Then you have to decide as to what litigation is to be initiated. So that is the reason that good understanding of this litigation matters is there with you. And especially if suppose your debtor is a corporate entity, then in that case you are having different options. One, you can file a suit against that party. Second, you can even initiate insolvency resolution process against that party. So now you have to decide, because if you file a recovery suit, then you will have to pay heavy court fee amount, which you may not be having. So then in that case, what you can do is that you can initiate insolvency resolution process. But at the same time, if the debt may become time barred, then in that case, you must file a recovery suit also. You don't have any choice. Otherwise, you will lose this remedy of filing a recovery suit. Okay. And in many cases, if there are some reasonable grounds, then you can initiate criminal matter also against that party who is not making payment of your dues. If there is any criminality involved on the part of that other party, then in that case you can do that. So good legal knowledge is a must for the purpose of this thing, and you have to improve your legal knowledge uh, by first of all, with respect to IBC, then the regulations, rules, and the judgments which are being passed by Honorable Supreme Court, Honorable NCLAT, etc., and even Honorable NCLT. Then the knowledge of these laws, you must read, or you are aware of all these laws. I think revision is necessary. So you may go through these provisions again. Then litigation management. Also, I have told you that take the help of, if you are not able to decide, take the help of experts in these particular fields, and they can advise you. Then restructuring and turnout around skills. So this is also very, very important skill which is required, because when you are handling one insolvent entity, so now when you examine balance sheet and everything, then you must know how this company can be revived. You must have some idea. Otherwise, what will happen is that resolution applicant, because you know all the facts of that company, if you have to approach, and you are required to approach different resolution applicants, then in that case, you have to tell them how it is possible to restructure and turn around that entity. Okay. Otherwise, he will say that, boss, in the past, your company has incurred losses, and now you are coming to me if I take over, I will also incur the losses. And then tell me how much are your assets and how much are your liabilities. And he will say that your liabilities are much more than your assets. So how these liabilities can be reduced so that the resolution applicant, he feels interested in taking over of the company. So you have to tell them that how these liabilities can be assets, how much money will have to be paid to the secured creditors, how much money will have to be given to unsecured creditors. If there are any dispute relating to ownership of the assets, you have to bring to their notice, and you will have to tell them that you will have to settle such and such dispute, which may involve spending of certain amount. Okay, so that kind of thing, I think you must know as to how a balance sheet can be restructured, how an entity can be restructured. Suppose good amount of losses is there in the company, income tax losses are there, then you can suggest him that you can merge this company with that other company, or the other company can merge, healthy company can merge into this company, so that benefit of carry forward of losses can be taken. Okay, so then there can be some piece of land. You may suggest them that valuable land is there. It can be sold off, and the unit can be shifted to another location where at land can be acquired at a much cheaper rate. Okay, and this valuable land is monetized and then is utilized for the purpose of making payment of the dues of the creditor. So this type of skills have to be there with the insolvency professionals, so that they can approach these people. He knows how the company can be revived, how restructuring has to be made of this company. Then only you can approach different prospective investors. Then restructuring and turnaround skills, we should have the capability relating to crisis management, ability to assess and respond to the financial distress of an entity and devise plans to resolve or restructure debt. Okay, then business restructuring, skills in negotiating and implementing debt restructuring strategies such as debt for equity swap, debt refinancing, or business reorganizations. Then operational turnaround, understanding operational efficiency and cost reduction strategies to help entities survive during the insolvency process. So operational turnaround is also very important. If some company is incurring losses, then you have to analyze as to what is the reason for which this company has been incurring losses. So you may find that the power cost is much more than the other competitors. So then you have to identify why your power consumption is higher, or whether your power price is costlier than others. Then you have to identify. So first is problem identification. Second is then you have to decide as to what remedy is there for that. So there the remedy can be that you may say that some power project has to be set up within the same premises, or you may look for some other supplier of power and all that, or there may be some plant which is consuming much more electricity. So then you will have to understand as to whether that plant is required to be replaced, or with some repairing its efficiency can be increased. So operational turnaround is also important. You may find that workers cost is much higher. Okay, so you will have to then in that case think about reducing the workers cost, employees cost, workers cost, and all other things. So operational turnaround is also, we must have good understanding. While we are running the affairs of the corporate debtors, we are trying to maintain the going concern status of the corporate debtor. At that point of time, I think we can decide to reduce the cost of workers or any other cost, so that we can run the business profitably during this CIRP process. So these skills will be helpful there. Then Negotiation skills are also very, very important. So you have to take a number of decisions, and at that point of while taking those decisions, you have to negotiate with different parties. Okay, suppose so for each and everything, if suppose you are engaging some professional, also you have to negotiate. If you are running the going concern uh, business, you are running the business of the CD. So you have to purchase raw materials. You have to deal with the suppliers and all. So you must have good negotiation skills. You must learn to have negotiation skills. And then most important is that with the resolution applicants, while finalizing the resolution plan, at that point of time, you will also be having important role. You will have to help CUC in negotiating with the different resolution applicants. So you have to see if a number of resolution applicants are there which are interested, then you have to see that how you maximize the value which is being offered or which will be offered by different resolution applicant. So negotiation skills are also very, very important. And then a number of, that different creditors are there, different sets of creditors are there. So you have to, so there may be some conflicting situation. In that case, you have to negotiate with all of them. You have to make them to come to a common platform, and then ask them to take a decision which is win-win for all. So this is negotiation skills are very, very important for a resolution professional or insolvency professional. Stakeholder management, engaging with creditors, debtors, employees, shareholders, and other stakeholders to facilitate agreement on the resolution. So this is, I think, most important skill which is required, because when you are running a company, different interest groups are there and their interests are different, and all of us will pressurize you, and you have to see that you manage everyone, each and everyone, and all of them, they should think that RP is IRP, RP or liquidator is taking care of their interest also. So they should not get that impression that you are acting in the interest of a particular set of creditors. So not only the secured financial creditors, bankers, home buyers. So if suppose home buyers feel that no, you are not acting in their interest, so then they will be changing you. They will appoint somebody else as the resolution professional. So everyone should believe that yes, you are taking care of their interests. So this is, I think, very, very important thing. Each and every person, they should, and you have to, it is not that it should, they should feel, but actually you should do that, that you have to take care of interest of everyone, all of them, as per law. So it is not that if unsecured creditor is not entitled to anything, then you can't do anything. You can't tell the resolution applicant to give the unsecured creditor substantial amount of money. Though still you will be making efforts that each and every class of credit, they get at least some money to them. Okay, so that is you should make them feel that yes, you are there and you will be doing justice with all of them, and you are not partial in favor of one or the other. Stakeholder engaging with creditors, debtors, employees, shareholders, and other stakeholders to facilitate agreement on the resolution. Conflict resolution, ability to mediate disputes between parties and reach consensus on difficult issues, ensuring a fair outcome for all involved. Terms negotiations, skill in negotiating terms of debt settlement, asset sales, or other compromises that are in the best interest of creditors and stakeholders. Project management. So, because now you will be having the responsibility of running this process as well as maintaining the going concern status of the CD. So then you must have these skills, project management skills. And these skills, they include process management. So you have to see that you oversee the entire insolvency process from start to finish, including timelines, documentation, and compliance. So this process is like a project. You have to complete it within the time-bound manner, and different steps are there. Different valuation is there. Before that, claim verification is there. So this entire thing you have to run in a time in the prescribed timelines. You must ensure proper documentation for each and everything. For each and every decision, you must generate the necessary documents. And not only that, you are required during this process to comply with the different laws. So you, that compliance also has to be made during the CIRP process. You are not having the exemption from making compliances of different laws. So you have to, if income tax return is required to be filed, you will have to do that. Annual what we call annual returns are required to be filed. You will have to do that. GST, you will have to do that. So you have to run this process, entire process, within the prescribed timelines, and you have to make all the legal compliances. Otherwise, you can be held personally liable. Team management. So leading and managing a team of legal, financial, and operational experts to ensure smooth and efficient resolution. So your team will consist of different kinds of professionals. So first of all, one is that you have to look after the continuing business. So operational people will be there along with you. So you will have to handle them. You have to manage all of them. Then the process, running of the process is there. For that purpose, you have to engage different professionals and all. So for that purpose also, you must manage that particular team. Then a number of litigations are there. Then filing of applications with NCLT and all. So legal team will also be there. So legal, financial, and operational experts. So you have to manage them during this process. So you must know how to do that. Risk management, identifying and mitigating risk throughout the insolvency process to minimize harm to these stakeholders. So you have to identify, as an IP, you have to identify what risks are there. Okay, so suppose there is some land on leasehold basis, and you are not paying the current dues. Okay, so if you are not paying the current dues, then this can be terminated. This lease can be terminated. Even during moratorium, you are aware that under moratorium also, the current dues have to be repaid. If you don't do that, then the other party is entitled to discontinue. Past dues, you are having moratorium, but current dues have to be paid. So you have to see that if you don't make the payment to these landlords, then in that case they can terminate the lease, and then serious consequences will be there. A number of other things are also there, where you have to identify the risk and make efforts for mitigation of the same. So I think it is 4:30. I think we should break for 15 minutes. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Sir.
Right. So it is 4:30, 4:45 we meet again.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
Okay. Okay. Right. Shall we start?
Sure, sir.
Yes, definitely, Leishy.
Yes. Process management. I think project management.
Risk management. Clear reporting. हाँ बच्चे.
Communication skills, huh?
Hmm.
Right. So communication skills are also very important, like any other profession. So as CAs, CS, CWA, lawyer, we must have good communication skills. And as insolvency professional also, because we have to interact with a number of professionals. I will take only 1 minute, please. Only 1 minute. Ji. So these communication skills are required for clearly communicating to different stakeholders as to what we intend to convey, clear reporting, ability to prepare and present complex financial and legal information in a clear, concise, and understandable manner for various stakeholders, including courts, creditors, and investors. And most important document is information memorandum also, and not only information memorandum. RFRP document is there, eligibility criteria is also there. Okay, and then after that, resolution plan has to be prepared and submitted. So you have to examine them also if there is any communication gap, if there is anything which is not clear, then you have to ensure that it is clearly reflected in the resolution plan also. But these documents like IM is very, very important. Each and every information which is important for the prospective resolution applicant, that must be included in that. So it is not that we have to see what is written under regulation 36 and only only that information is to be included here. No, we have to see that that the prospective resolution applicant, the person who is proposing to acquire or who will be acquiring the company, what information he will be needing for order to take a decision. Harshi, please mute yourself. Mr. Harsh Arora ji, please mute yourself. Yeah. So, IM is a very, very important document. If suppose some information is not included there, then I think we may have to Harshi, Mr. Harsh Kumar. Harshi, can you hear? Please, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Yes, thank you. Yes. So I was telling you that IM is very important document, and IM must contain all the important information. Okay, so if some information has not been clearly communicated, then serious consequences can be there. Because then in that case, RA, though normally what we write is that the assets are being transferred or assets are being offered on as is, where is basis and all that. But still, we have some obligation. Okay, if some asset is not included therein, or if some false information is there, or suppose there is a dispute with respect to ownership, that must be communicated. That must be written there in that IM document. So don't try to hide any information. You must disclose that information there. Each and every, whatever disputes are there, whatever litigations were there, whatever demands were there, if suppose there was some income tax demand, Okay, and huge income tax demand is there, GST demand is there, PF dues are there, each and everything has to be. And it is not that only the admitted dues. Other than that, in addition to that, everything is to be incorporated there. Okay, so this communication is very, very important, because that will become a document based on which in future the RA, if there is some information, important information not mentioned therein, then in that case RA may try to get out of this deal after submitting a resolution plan, and after that resolution plan is approved. So he can take that plea, or in order to delay also, if suppose he has agreed to take over the company for an amount of rupees, for example, 100 crore. But subsequently he may say that this particular fact was not disclosed to me, and it was very important information which is not communicated. So on that ground he may delay, or on that ground he may try to get out of this resolution plan. Then client relationship management, managing relationship with clients, keeping them informed and addressing their concerns effectively. So not only in IM we have to include all the information, but at the same time every stakeholder we must communicate. We must communicate to them as to what is happening. We must maintain a transparency, and for that purpose communication is very, very important. And then public speaking and presentations, that is also very important. You know that as an IP, you will have to address the committee of creditors. Committee of creditors may be consisting of a number of financial creditors, then home buyers. So in number of, you may be required to address 2000 home buyers. So public speaking and presentation as to how you present what you want to say is very, very important. So these communication skills we need to develop. We must have these, though I am sure that as company secretaries, CAs, CMAs, and lawyers, we have good communication skills, but we must keep these things in mind, that these are the skills which are required. And if suppose we are deficient somewhere, then we have to make efforts that we improve our these skills, so that we can become a successful and effective insolvency professional. Analytical and critical thinking. So this is also very, very important. You are running a company now, and at the same time you are trying to sell these assets, these very valuable assets. Okay, so here a lot of decision making is required. A big entity you are running, a number of problems may be there, for which you will have to find out immediate solution. Then you will have to make decisions. Deferring decision is not going to help you. Immediately, timely decision making is very, very important, and we must know as to what are the important considerations while making a decision. If required, we may consult others for the purpose of the same. And data analysis, we must know how to analyze the data, using data to make informed decisions regarding asset sales, debt restructuring, and business strategies. All these things are this analytical and critical thinking. It is very, very important. And during our existing practices also, we take this type of decisions. But for the purpose of running a business, I think we may not be having adequate experience. Okay, so for that purpose, I think initially, suppose we are appointed as IRP, RP, and if it is our first assignment, it is always advisable that for some period of time, work along with some other insolvency professional who is having the required experience, associate himself, involve yourself in that particular insolvency resolution process or liquidation process, so that you get the experience, so that you know how to take decisions, how to solve the problems, how to examine the data and all that. Okay, so for some period of time, if you take that experience, I think you will be even if you are not getting anything. So when you are going to somebody with some with the request to give you some exposure, then in that case you may not get anything, but the very valuable experience you are getting. Okay, so which is very, very important, considering that it's not an easy thing. If you don't know anything, then it is difficult. But if you know your subject, if you know these skills, then it is not a difficult thing. Then if you do one assignment, then after that it will become much easier for you. But I think get associated with some insolvency professional entity or some senior insolvency professional, so that you get experience of 1 or 2 assignments, and then after that I don't think it will be difficult for you. Then ethics and professionalism, so like any other profession, and here ethics I think are required to be more relevant. And reason I told you already, that you are dealing with assets which belong to different stakeholders. You are running a business which you are not the proprietor, or you are not the owner, but you are a trustee. So as a trustee, whenever there is a relationship where you are acting as a trustee for someone, so then you are expected to reflect a higher degree of ethics and professionalism. So these are the important the requirement: integrity, confidentiality, adherence to standards. So these are the qualities which we must have: integrity, confidentiality, adherence to standards. And confidentiality is also very, very important. Confidentiality does not mean that with the stakeholders you will not share, but sometimes you may have to keep some information confidential for some period of time. Okay, but wherever law requires, like IM, you are not supposed to share with them unless they give the confidentiality undertaking to you. Okay, so these things are very, very important. We must keep these things in mind. Industry specific knowledge is also very important for you to acquire, because as an IP, if you are appointed as insolvency resolution professional, or RP, or interim resolution professional, or liquidator of for example, of a real estate company, so you must have some knowledge about that. Industry specific knowledge is very, very important. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to identify a new resolution applicant. Okay, so whatever suppose you are appointed as insolvency professional of a particular industry, for example, real estate. So in that case, you must gain some knowledge, you must gain some information with respect to the nuances of that particular industry. You make discussions with the experts which are there in that particular field. Existing senior level employees can also be of some use of the corporate data. And if you are not having this type of persons available, then you have to take the help of some outside expert, and you may have to engage him for the purpose of running the business. Suppose it's a steel industry and you are not having the adequate knowledge about the same, so you will have to take the help of some outside expert who will help you in taking decisions relating to the business of that particular sector. So sector expertise: some insolvency professionals specialize in specific industries like real estate, manufacturing, or technology, and need to have knowledge or industry specific financial structure and challenges. Market trends: so if suppose you are you are having a assignment where you are having assignment where the company is engaged in steel manufacturing, then in that case read something about that, about the latest trends in that market, what is happening, whether this particular business is viable or not. You see what kind of machine your unit is having, whether it is outdated, whether it is latest, what is the cost of manufacturing, and whether this particular kind of product is having the required demand. Okay, so these things are very, very important. So whenever lot of homework is required to be done before taking up this type of assignments. So industry specific knowledge is also very important. We must, whenever we get any this thing on Google also, we can see what information is available to apprise ourselves about the nuances of that particular thing. Okay, so this is industry specific knowledge. Technology proficiency, it's very, very important nowadays. As IP, as insolvency professional, if we take the help of technology, I think we can reduce our substantial burden. Okay, so we have different softwares which help us in running this process, which tell us what is required to be done. They tell us about the timelines, and even formats of those documents are available. If suppose we have to make eligibility criteria, so you can even find draft documents. You can take the help of AI also, artificial intelligence. So see the chat GPT and all, you put something there and the document will be there. Okay, so these things, if you are having those, you can, so technology is very, very important. It can reduce our burden very substantially. Okay, so always for the purpose of claim verification also, for the purpose of claim verification also, we are having different softwares available. We must use them. Otherwise, it will be difficult. If suppose it's a company where 5, 7, 10 creditors are there, then you can do that even manually. But if in more number of the claimants are there, especially in a real estate matter, if you don't use that software, I don't think you can complete the claim verification process. It will take you huge amount of time, and still you will find that some of the claims you received, you could not process them, or you have committed some error and all that. Okay, so these technology is also very important. We must learn to use these softwares and AI also. Cultural sensitivity and global perspective for cross-border cases. So if we are handling some cross-border insolvency matter, then in that case, we must know the law. We must read the law which is prevalent in that particular country where your debtor, creditor, or some unit of corporate debtor is situated. Okay, so try to apprise yourself or take the help of some expert there who can help you as to what is, and you must know what about cross-border insolvency also. What are the provisions? Though presently we have not yet introduced the provisions relating to the same. Only some limited provisions are there. Cultural sensitivity is also important. That if your branch is there outside India, then you must know that what cultural differences are there, and while negotiating with them or dealing with them, you must recognize and respect the differences, which are cultural differences which are there. Time management and multitasking. So time management we have already discussed. Handling multiple cases. So many, you know that as IP, it is not that at one point of time we are handling only one assignment. You may handle a number of assignments at the same point of time. So you must have the ability to handle all these matters simultaneously. Okay, so time management and multitasking is very, very important, and we should develop our expertise. We should develop our capacity to handle the matters like this. So I think conclusion is we can skip that. IP regulations are there, where I think under our code of conduct, the requirements which are there from insolvency professionals, those are mentioned. Integrity, reputation, character. So I think all of you are aware as to what are the requirements which are mentioned. I think quickly I go to the role of CAs under IBC. We can skip that also. All of us are aware that we can act as IRP, RP, liquidator, then insolvency professional in individual insolvency processes, bankruptcy processes, and as AR and all. So we can skip all these. Let me go to the final part. enhancing the knowledge and skills as an insolvency professional. So these are the things which are required. These are the steps which are required. Deepen your knowledge of laws and regulations. So I told you earlier as to what is required to be done or what is expected from us. Now, what we need to do. So we should deepen our knowledge of laws and regulations. So this is very, very important. And first of all, the IBC provisions, regulations, and this one, what we call rules and different circulars and all that, we must read them. We must thoroughly we increase our knowledge of the same, because you have to implement these provisions only. CIRP, you must know what are the relevant provisions of IBC, what are the relevant provisions of CIRP regulations. In liquidation, you must know what are liquidation regulations. So first and foremost, this is required to be done. If you get some liquidation assignment, then you should know what are the provisions of liquidation under IBC, and then liquidation regulations are there, then liquidation rules are there. So whatever rules and regulations, whatever the relating to the same, so those have to be gone through, and we must have a good understanding of the same, and then only we will be able to implement these things. Understand allied laws. So I have earlier also I have told, develop expertise in corporate, contract, taxation, and securities law that impact insolvency proceedings. Okay, so relevant things should be for the purpose of taxation. I think there are certain important sections of law, income tax law, which I think we must know. Like section 79 is there. You are aware, section 79 of Income Tax Act says that if more than 51% of the shareholding of a company, of a closely held company, if that change in shareholding is there, more than 51% shareholding in a financial year, then previous year's losses cannot be carried forward, cannot be adjusted against the profits. So section 79 is there, but 79 there is some amendment with respect to some exemption is there with respect to the cases where a resolution plan has been approved. Then we must know 41(1) of Income Tax Act. 41(1) says that if some liabilities are waived off, then in that case they become taxable, provided you have claimed a deduction with respect to the same earlier. Okay, so that becomes important. Then carry forward of losses, section 72(3) is there. Carry forward of depreciation is there, 32(2). So when you are offering a company for sale, if huge amount of accumulated losses are there, then in that case you will be expecting some value against the same. If someone is acquiring the company, then he will be getting benefit of the accumulated losses and unabsorbed depreciation also. So for example, if depreciation and this one losses are approximately 100 crore, then at least he will be getting benefit of 25-30 crore. Okay, so you will be expecting, at least you will say that if 25-30 crore benefit is getting, then 5, 7, 10 crore should come to you as consideration, because a lot of uncertainties there. He may not get the complete benefit. So he will not give you complete value. He will not give you 25 crore for the same. So because he may get the benefit in first year. In that case, he may offer you higher value. But otherwise, he may get the benefit over 2, 3, 4 years. So these provisions, 72(3), 32(2), 79, 41(1), 28(4). So these are the sections I think we must know. 115 JB is also very important. So these sections we must know. Understand allied laws, stay updated. So we must stay updated. Not only that we have to gain the knowledge of IBC and allied laws, we have to keep ourselves updated with the latest case laws, regulatory updates, circulars issued by regulator and all. So you are aware that on IBBI's website, we are having the judgments. We are having all latest judgments relating to insolvency process. Okay, so for that purpose, I think what we can do is that regularly we develop that habit of reading whatever judgments are there, Supreme Court judgments are there, then unclear judgments are there. So if we develop that habit of every day we are reading these judgments, one, two, three judgments. If you can devote half an hour, 45 minutes every day, so I think you can keep yourself updated as to what is happening in this field, and these things are relevant for you as IP. You must know the latest law. Then only you will be acting according to the same. Then enhance financial and business skills. So we have discussed earlier also that we need to do as IP, we need to do financial analysis. So we must know if we already do not know about all this. So we must enhance our financial and business skills. Financial analysis, we must know. Valuation techniques also we must know. Turnaround strategies also we must know. Okay, so we must try to gain our knowledge with respect to these things. Financial analysis, we must learn how to read the balance sheets, financial statements, cash flow, and profitability statement, etc. And valuation techniques also, I think we have discussed earlier. Again, I will take only 1 minute again. Yes, gaining practical experience. So I have told you about this earlier also, that having practical experience before starting to handle any assignment in your own name, I think better will be that you gain some practical experience with some other experienced IP or some IP entity. So work on real life cases to understand the nuances of insolvency resolution, liquidation, and bankruptcy proceedings. Shadow experienced professionals. Collaborate with seasoned insolvency professional to gain insight and practical tips. So associate with some insolvency professional and involve yourself, handle 1 or 2 assignments before you take up some assignment for yourself. Develop negotiation and mediation skills also. Insolvency professionals often mediate between creditors, debtors, and other stakeholders. Enhance your skills in negotiation, conflict resolution, and communication. So how to enhance that? So that can be possible only when either you involve yourself with or you associate yourself with existing insolvency professional who is handling some matters, or you may have some short period courses are there for developing these skills, negotiation and mediation skills. I think you can join them 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So this type of courses are there. Okay, so if you join them, then you will know and you will develop these skills, and which will help you in handling these assignments. Build sector specific expertise. Develop expertise in specific industries, that is real estate, manufacturing, or finance, to better understand industry specific insolvency challenges. So whatever type of, so initially you can, as I told you, that you associate with some experienced professional. So if somebody is having some real estate matter, you can associate with him. Some manufacturing assignment is there with some IP, then you can associate yourself with him, so that you have experience of these matters. You know then what kind of issues will be involved in a real estate matter if you associate yourself with some with some IP who is handling these assignments. Manufacturing entity, if some steel industry is being done by insolvency professional, associate with him. So you will come to know as to what are the nuances of that particular industry. Okay, so what are the issues which arise, and what is the suppose it is steel sector. So what is the normally, what are the prices, and what are the consumption norms and all that. So you will be having some idea of all those things. So that will help you in running these entities as IP. Expand your network. Okay, so it is also for like any other profession. Here also, expansion of network is very, very important. You get work through your network. So attend conferences, seminars, and workshops to stay updated and build professional connections. Join professional bodies and associations related to insolvency and bankruptcy. Okay, so this will help you. One, that you will be making contacts, so they can help you in involving you in different assignments. So if suppose there is some new assignment, they can help you in getting that assignment in your name. And then otherwise, what can happen is, suppose already you are doing some assignment, then if some issues are there, you can consult with those. If you are having some network, so you know that a particular person is handling an assignment in steel sector. So you can call him anytime, and then you can discuss with him the difficulties you are facing, and I think he can guide you in handling your assignment. Then professional bodies and associations related to insolvency. So these bodies and associations, they organize different webinars, and I think weekly webinars or fortnightly webinars, etc., where different insolvency professionals, they share their experiences. So if you attend this type of programs, so it will help you a lot. Okay, because a number of professionals, senior professionals, IPs, if they are discussing their problems there, and you are attending that, so you will learn as to what issues are there, which you may have to handle. Project management skills need to be improved. Because you know that you have to manage teams, you have to observe timelines, and you have to manage different stakeholders. So you need to handle them. You must have project management skills, so that you can handle all this. So you can handle your team, you can manage your team, you can manage relationship with different stakeholders, timelines. Within timelines, you complete your assignment. Okay, so these skills you must have, and invest in learning project management tools and techniques. So for this purpose, again, you can be with some experienced IP, or otherwise you can join some part-time course for in this type of where you can develop this type of skills. Strengthen, you need not be an expert of these things, but you must learn some general, you must have some general understanding of all this. So you will not be required to make huge efforts, but yes, some efforts initially you will have to make. Strengthen ethical and professional conduct. So uphold the highest standards of integrity, transparency, and objectivity in your practice. So as I told you that you have to you have to maintain transparency, you have to involve people in all your decision making. Otherwise you will be facing different allegations against you. And especially real estate matters. In real estate matters, for each and every decision making, involve people, constitute committees, constitute subcommittees, and the decision making will be by you only, but they will be having the right to give recommendation. And our objective is only to involve them in decision making. Ultimately, you will be making decision, but if you involve them, then in that case, what happens is that they can't raise any allegation against you. In many cases, what we do is that if suppose there is some money which is raised from the home buyers, for example, for doing construction, okay, for the purpose of so whatever money has been raised, so a separate account normally we open, and in that we have at least one signatory of the home buyers also. Okay, so when their nominee is also signing the checks, so tomorrow they may not say that they were not aware of something, some payment and all. So involve them whenever you are engaging someone. If you are engaging some contractor, so when you are running that process, so you involve them there. Okay, so their representative should also be there. Constitute one committee where their representative are also there. Otherwise, they will be blaming you. Tomorrow, something good happens, they will not give you credit. But if something bad happens, then they will be blaming you only for that. So better is that complete transparency has to be maintained, and also integrity and objectivity. When you doing the work with complete integrity, you will earn good amount of money. Okay, and if integrity is not there, you may not get further assignments. Okay, so if you want to act or work in this profession on a long-term basis, so you have to ensure integrity, transparency, and objectivity. Okay, so very, very important. Be a long-term player. Don't think that in one matter only you want to earn huge amount of money. Okay, so in each and with time, your expertise will develop, and then you will be appointed in better cases where amount of fees much higher, bigger cases where your fees can be much higher. So if you perform with integrity, transparency, objectivity, etc., so then I think, and then if you get good experience of handling these assignments, then you will get a number of new assignments where you can make huge amount of money, but legally, but as by earning the fee, not otherwise. Leverage technology. So we have already discussed that use insolvency specific software and digital tools to improve efficiency in managing cases, tracking compliances, and preparing report. So as I told you that use a number of softwares are available where you can use them for the purpose of helping you in claim verification, and for the purpose of making compliances with IBBI, with your insolvency professional agency. Okay, and then telling you about the timelines, generating different reports. Okay, so all these space, if you use this software, I think you are more than 50% of the work, I think, will be taken care of by these softwares, and I think much more than 50%. So technology is very, very important. If you don't use that, I think then you can't be an efficient IP professional. So apprise yourself about what softwares are available, what tools are available. AI also, I told you, if you want to generate some document, take the help of AI. So you will find that there is a initial draft, and after that you can make the changes to the same. So this technology is very, very important. To be a successful IP, you must use different softwares and tools, and you must use technology. Pursue continuing education. So for the purpose of developing further skills, so enroll in advanced certifications, diplomas, or short-term courses on insolvency and related fields. Okay, so if suppose, I think if you are a new entrant in this profession, then in that case, I think better will be that some certifications, diplomas, or short-term courses, you enroll yourself there, and then you will be getting good idea and will be getting good knowledge about insolvency and related fields. Institutions like Insol International and the IBBI and other offer specialized training programs, and your IP is also there organizing different continuing education program. So attend them from time to time as you are doing today. So this type of programs you have to attend. So then you will come to know about different aspects of your training, of your profession, okay, which will help you in executing your different assignments. Soft skills, development of soft skills, develop communication, leadership, and interpersonal skills to handle challenging situations and build trust among stakeholders. So these skills have to be developed. For that purpose, I think you can attend some training programs also, or you can associate yourself with some senior or some IP entity. Seek feedback and mentorship. So initially, in the initial phase, I think better will be that if you are having some mentor who can help you in executing your assignments. So regularly seek feedback on your performance and consider mentoring under an experienced insolvency professional. By consistently focusing on these areas, you can build a reputation as a competent and reliable insolvency professional. Okay, so feedback and then mentorship. So these are two important things you must follow. I think with this, I complete my presentation. I think if you have any questions, we can discuss the same, or otherwise we can close today's session. Any questions? No? Okay, then I think we close the session. Host, where is our host?
Yes, you can, if you like, we can close the session.
Yes.
Thank you for your sharing your experience and making the session interactive and insightful.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for a wonderful session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nilesh. Great refresher course.
Thank you, Harshi.
Thank you.
Okay.